All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order and determine whether we have a quorum or not. So Denise Davis. Here. Chris Wood.
Here.
Diane Becker.
Here.
And Kevin Lyons.
Here.
Okay, and for the record, both of our alternates, Mark Sassway and Jody Wright, are also here. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Mark, you're close. Why don't you
I'm an old.
oh, you're gonna march with it.
Yeah. You're afraid.
Okay. It's a little faded, isn't it?
It was.
Mark, go ahead and start us.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. All right, we'll open with general public comment. We'll start in the room. Does anyone in the room have public comment to make tonight? No takers here. Online, anyone? Am I seeing everybody that's online? No. Okay.
Choice to go to the right.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I don't see any hands online either, so we will go to the next item, which is announcements from Commissioner Hill.
Hello, Madam Chair and CAB members. Just reconnecting with you on our discussion on the old elementary school and TTD. I wanted to let you know that your chairwoman has submitted public comment to the Reno Housing Authority. I'm sure you wanted to tell them about that also during the meeting in support of their pursuit of the property. They're going to be having some discussions tomorrow, and then it's going to
hold on one moment. We're not getting.
We're not hearing.
For some reason, we are not connected to any of the room equipment. The speakers are on, but the room is not connected to my laptop.
Gonna ask for a volunteer. She's gonna go try to get a library person. I'm not sure if that will help, but.
Just FYI, we're hearing it online.
Right, you're hearing us because I'm right next to the computer, but what is happening in the room is only the computer speaker is working, so, and the mic. So we're trying to get the mics and computers set up. This is not, it's green, but it's not doing anything.
It's on, but my computer is not connecting to the room equipment
Okay.
for some reason. I don't know why.
If I put this over here, can you hear it? Okay. My apologies, we have someone coming.
I am not connected at all.
no worries.
Hmm? Keep that one in mind because we may come down to that. Okay. Oh, yes, took attendance here. It is on. Okay.
I know, but nothing is connecting to my computer because I don't have any audio options.
And.
I only have what's built into my laptop.
Okay.
I don't have any Crestron options.
See. So this number, you have this as a
Speaker microphone.
Bill's 4.
So let's do the next round. So I was right, but.
6. Sorry.
Oh.
That came from.
This is.
Okay, well.
Real tech.
Are we good? Can we start? Because we're burning oil here. Nope, it's not.
Real tech microphone.
Yeah. Okay, Alexis, why don't you say something?
Do you hear me?
Okay, so I think we can move on. Are you okay with this? Sure, Denise? We don't know how it's working. We don't know how it's working. It's just working.
Okay. Well, thank goodness. I'll just do a quick summary. Last time we spoke, the group wanted an update on the old elementary school. I wanted to just remind folks that the Reno Housing Authority has a board meeting tomorrow. Your chairwoman submitted a comment letter in support of them pursuing the old elementary school project. So they'll be looking at that, and we will probably have an update on how they want to pursue this next after tomorrow's meeting. I know that the TTD board will be reviewing where we're at with the old elementary school at our April board meeting, so be sure to tune into that meeting. And also the another update on Incline Matters, the APC appointee will be discussed coming up here at a board meeting. We opened it back up for candidates and have 9 applicants. So it should be a good discussion from the board. And you can, of course, zoom in at the library when we have that on our agenda, as you can always. And I hope that you're happier with how we're removing the snow on our walkways in Incline Village. The staff have been really pursuing how they can get that done sooner than allowing for the ice to get all over the sidewalk and then making it impossible for those to be used. So I got some comments today that it has been better, but I'm happy to hear your feedback on that too. So here to hear any other questions or concerns you may have for me.
So this is Roxana, and going back to the OES, my opening statement at tomorrow's meeting, and I'm planning to go if I can get over the hill, just in public comment, is I'm really flying blind because I don't know what's been happening behind the scenes. And what I do know is that this is supposed to come before the TTD again on March the 1st. So considering the complexity of this issue, the potential project, I'm hoping there's a lot of good stuff going on in the background, or that we're getting it started now.
I don't think it's going March 1st at TTD. I think we're doing the April meeting. That's the update I got today, but I can find out for sure.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's April 1st.
Yeah. Oh, April Fool's Day. Perfect. But yes, that's when it will be going. It's more of an update opportunity, really. We got 6 months to kind of see where we're going to take this. And yes, the Reno Housing Authority is frantically doing a lot of work in the background as part of this. But as we've discussed, there's going to be a lot of public hearings between here and then when, if they are going to be helping with that project and getting housing online. And if they can't, then the TTD board directed that we look at a way to sell the property, and that's going to be its own public process as well. So it's my understanding that we are getting an understanding of how much the property is valued right now and doing official estimates.
Okay. And is Reno Housing aware of the earthquake problem with it, and also the demolition cost? Because that, to me, those are huge hurdles and kind of have to be addressed early.
Oh yeah, they've been working through with the TTD staff on those particulars.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm still going to go tomorrow, just to keep the fires going.
That's wonderful.
Okay, other questions in the room for Alexis? All right.
Yeah.
And
Ann Nichols. Yeah. Maybe you've said this, I'm sure before, but why? So there's no chain control by NDOT, and I actually saw a couple semis without chains coming over 431 on Wednesday, and it was like the Armageddon driving down 50, and there's just cars and semis all over the place. What's the reasoning why they don't have that?
Sure. Alexis, are you able to respond to that? Did you hear the question?
I did. I'm so sorry. I was talking when I was on mute. And you've totally stumped me. I need to ask the state. I can email Tracy and find out. I have no idea.
If I may, Chris Wood, I have seen chain control on 431, not often. But I have seen it, that does exist.
I've hardly ever seen it, living here 55 years.
Oh. Took the
Right.
last time to see it, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, other questions for Alexis from the board? All right, should have done that first. And
Thank you.
others in the room? Online, anyone? Kathy, Julian?
Yeah, hi Alexis. Is it possible for public comment through Zoom on that at that Reno Housing Authority meeting, or does one need to go
I
there?
think
in
you have
person?
to be physically there, but you can submit emails that will be placed into the record.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's okay. What does this mean?
Right, I think that's all of the questions for Commissioner Hill, so thank you for
Thank you all.
for your patience while we
Oh, no problem.
right plus. All right, we'll go on to the next one, which is our public safety updates. And I am not seeing anyone in the room or online, so it's a shame because I really wanted to make them short next time. Which takes us to number 7. Sure,
He is.
yes, okay. All right, so our sort of main event presentation today is from TRPA, and Chris has been good enough to do all of the setup work for this, so I'm going to give this whole agenda item to him today.
So, can we get Jacob unmuted and his presentation set up?
Yeah, hey.
There we are. Hi, Jacob. So.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Here, let me get my screen shared here real quick.
This one.
While he's doing that, this is Jacob Stock. He is a senior planner at TRPA. He's been leading the charge, among others, on the environmental impact statement that is now in the scoping period for public comment.
Could we unblock, Joe?
Just time to put this. So let's take it away, Jacob.
Yeah, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, thank you, Chris. Yeah, my name's Jacob Stock, senior planner with TRPA. I'm broadcasting live from balmy South Lake Tahoe. I don't know what it's like up there, but it was hot down here today. It's like a swamp. But I'm not here to talk about the weather, or we can talk about the weather later, but I'm here to talk about the public scoping period for an environmental impact statement, or we call it an EIS for short, for cultivating community, conserving the basin. And that's our program looking at how we can adjust TRPA policy and code to better support housing for our workforce and to maintain and even accelerate attainment of our environmental thresholds in regional plan, which is why we're all here, why TRPA is here in the first place. So the governing board passed a motion to initiate the EIS in January. That was an important milestone for the project, and now we're in the public scoping period for the environmental impact statement. So the main points I'll cover today, I'll talk about what is an environmental impact statement, or EIS, what is the scoping period and why does it matter, what's proposed to be studied in this EIS. I'll give a quick overview of the project at that time, and then how to submit a comment on the scope of the EIS. And then I'll end with some next steps for the project, next upcoming milestones. Okay, so what's an EIS? EIS is our highest level of environmental analysis at TRPA. It analyzes the environmental impacts of a potential action and includes alternative actions or mitigations for any impacts that are found. So you can think of the policies analyzed in the EIS as the envelope or the sandbox of study for potential policy and code changes. It defines the extent of the actions that we can take on a project, but the ultimate result of the project, may be different than what we're studying in the EIS. That's part of why we're doing this study is to help inform final decisions. So I have a long list of impact areas for study in the EIS, and I'll share those later in the presentation. But we also have this scoping period, which started last month when the board directed us to start the study and lasts through March 16th. I want to clarify that this period is not. It's not an opportunity. It's not the time to change the project proposal. There will be another opportunity to alter the proposal after the EIS has been released and before adoption. So with that said, now is a really great time to talk about what environmental impacts are important to consider and how we should consider those in our analysis. And that's why the scoping period really matters. We'll consider your comments and use your input to shape the scope of our environmental analysis. Because what we study and how we study it matters for the project and it matters for the environment. Okay, so what's being studied in this EIS? I'll review some key points from the project description. But before we get to that, a reminder that all of these proposed policies are based on these project goals and outcomes and based on a really extensive public input, public outreach process that has been ongoing throughout this last year. So at the heart of this, we have tried to craft proposed policies that aim to meet our housing needs while maintaining and improving environmental conservation and preservation. And we all know that there's not a single solution to our region's housing needs, but we think that this proposal is a critical step in the right direction. Obviously, there's a lot more that can be done at the local level, at the state level, but we see this as an important step in the right direction and some stuff that we really want to study to see where it goes. So I'm going to give a little overview of some of the policies that are going to be analyzed in this project through the environmental impact statement. So starting with policies to reduce time and cost, this first item up here with the sunglasses. We'll look at adding bonus units by removing development rights from other TRPA pools. We'll analyze allowing junior accessory dwelling units or equivalent as accessory to single-family homes. We want to look at policies to ensure that all new development contributes proportionally to meeting the housing need. We want to look at scaling development rights and fees. And finally, single-family homes are currently exempt from TRPA environmental review, and we'll look at holding small multifamily housing that meets our housing need to that same standard. So on this second item, water quality is the foundation of everything that we do at TRPA, so we really want to ensure that multifamily housing, that all of our housing is meeting our water treatment requirements, but that multifamily housing isn't facing stricter requirements than single-family housing. And so we want to look at that, and in doing so, we think we can actually improve water quality overall. So for example, we're going to analyze allowing more parcel level coverage for multifamily development with the goal of actually seeing less coverage basin-wide overall. And maintenance of stormwater systems and BMPs is going to be really key here. So we'll be analyzing new ways to ensure that we're effectively monitoring and maintaining our stormwater systems. Okay, so finally, this third item here, increasing housing choice. We're going to analyze new zoning for missing middle housing. We want to encourage local governments to unlock existing housing for our local workforce. So we're not just looking at incentives to build new housing, but we're also looking at ways to unlock the housing stock that we already have that's not being utilized in the ways that we want to see it. We also heard a lot of support for a regional housing authority that could coordinate funding and programming for workforce housing, and so we'll look into that as well. I want to review a few key points about the EIS. So the policies analyzed in the environmental impact statement represent the envelope of study for the project. We want to study the impact of these potential policies, and we can adjust and scale back if needed based on what we find in the analysis later on in the process. So this is not final what we're going to do. document. This is a evolving, changing document that's going to help inform the decisions made by our decision makers. And what we're really focused on now is developing the scope of the analysis. So we're asking for your input on the impacts that we should consider and how we should consider those impacts. And those comments will help us define the scope of the EIS. So here's a list of more than a dozen areas that'll be studied in the EIS. It covers all of our thresholds and it's pretty comprehensive. So we'll be looking at land use, including neighborhood compatibility and growth management, water quality, scenic quality, transportation. We'll look at public safety hazards, including wildfire and evacuation as well, just to name a few things. And so we want to hear your input on how to evaluate these areas, or if something should be analyzed that's not here on this list. So any ideas that you have are welcome. We'll be listening, recording those, and including those in a summary and potentially in the scope of the EIS as well. Okay, so how do you make a comment? Well, one way to make a comment is to participate in this discussion. So you can just tell me your comment now after I finish my presentation. That's not the only way, though. Really, the best way to make a comment is to send an email to housing@trpa.gov. Maybe we can, Alexandra can put that in the chat. So you all have that. You don't have to write it down. Those comments are due March 16th to be included for consideration in the scope. And a reminder that at this point in the project, we're only considering comments on the scope of the environmental analysis. So please, as much as you can, try to keep it focused on the environmental impact statement. There's a lot to talk about there. And there will be more opportunity to comment on the project itself after the EIS is complete. For more information on the project, including a full project description, you can go to the major projects page at trpa.gov. Hopefully Alexandra can put that in the chat as well. And that's also where you'll find the scoping summary report at the end of the scoping period. So you can review those, see what other people commented on. So next steps, like I said before, our governing board directed us last month to start an environmental impact statement and release a notice of preparation to prepare an EIS. That initiated our scoping period, which will be a 6-week period for this project. So from the end of January through March 16th. And this is by no means your last opportunity to give input. As I said before, there will be more opportunity for public comment in the summer when we have a draft EIS ready, and we hope to have a final EIS and policy proposal in the fall and early 2027, where there will be more opportunity for comment and input as well. And so with that context, I invite your input on the scope of the EIS, and I'll be taking notes, and I understand that these meetings are recorded, so I'll be listening to it afterwards as well to make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you.
So, any comments among board members? Diane Becker, please state your name.
Hi, Jake. Could you go back to that slide where, oh, Diane Becker, sorry. Could you go back to the slide where you listed all the things that you're going to consider, wildlife, public interest, that kind of thing?
I sure can. One sec.
Number 10.
Uh-oh.
Maybe you can.
Up there it is.
There it is. Okay. All right. So the way that you listed the slide, you have things in an order. I don't know if the order is supposed to be in terms of importance, but if you look at your list, wildfire and evacuation should be number 1 because it impacts every single thing on there. And it shouldn't be limited to public safety hazards. And I say this because at times TARPA says, well, we're not responsible for the public, we're responsible for the land, for the water, for the animals, for the habitat. I really suggest that when you're looking at this, you should put wildfire first, because if there's a wildfire, you're going to kill the animals, you're going to pollute the lake. Who knows all the toxins that will flow in the lake. So I think you really need to fixture analysis, if this is actually a list and how you're dividing it up. That would be one comment that I have.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to respond directly to everything. I'm mostly going to be taking notes, but I will say that this is not in order of importance. This is just
Okay, but you
in no
understand that-
particular order at all. So
Right, but you understand that wildfire and evacuation should either be a separate thing or it should be on including that on everything. That's my suggestion. And I haven't seen any of the underlying documents, so I can't really respond with any comments, but I will get you all the comments that I've given to the county on this. And I hope you'll really look at them. We appreciate anything you can do to protect the beauty of Lake Tahoe.
Anyone else on the board have comments? Roxanne?
Okay, Roxana Dunn, on the cab. During the promotion of what I remember to be the phase 2 amendments for housing, which were the ones where they're increasing height density and coverage in town centers to build workforce housing. The issue of an environmental impact statement was raised several times. And so I'm wondering, I don't think anything was done then. So I'm wondering if it's being included in what you have here, the impact of height density and coverage.
well, I will say that anything that we're proposing in this proposal that affects height density and coverage will be included in this analysis. The phase 2 amendments have been adopted already and included in the Code of Ordinances, so those won't be evaluated separately as a new proposal, but would be included as part of the baseline condition.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, Roxanne again. So it's a baseline okay. So in my mind, the issue was when those things were being promoted, there was no environmental impact statement. And now what I'm hearing is it's considered baseline. So in other words, it's a done deal, too late. And I'm being just a little more negative here than I want to be, but I'm concerned because that was not really studied, and a lot of people around here raised that issue.
Yeah, the phase 2 amendments are part of the TRPA code and policy now. They're not part of this new proposal, and so they won't be studied as part of the EIS separately.
Go ahead.
Oh, Diane Becker. So I have two suggestions. I don't know what your plans are on either one of these. For one, I know that TARPA did a fire evacuation study in the case of a planned evacuation, not a wildfire, like where everyone knows it's coming and everything's planned. And I hope that you will never refer to that in anything that you're doing in this plan. Because we know that's really irrelevant to a wildfire evacuation. I don't know why it was done as a planned evacuation with notice. The second thing is, and these are just comments. The second thing is, even though you have an existing level of people based on the phase 2 amendments, is there a reason that you cannot go back to the 2012 EIS, the last EIS, and compare population and traffic from that time to what the new amendments will do versus comparing what the phase 2 will do to the new amendments, because that will give a very unfair calculation where you're going to forget the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands, but at least hundreds of units that are approved in the phase 2. And if you're going to actually do something like that, you're just going to say, oh, we're going to ignore the fact that from 2012 to 2026, there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of extra units in, and we're just going to compare those 2 times. I think you need to justify to the public why you think it's fair to do that, because that's something that the public is very concerned about.
Okay, thanks. I'm writing all this stuff down.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the board? Questions? No, okay, we'll open it up to the room. Anybody in the room have questions for Jacob Stock?
Yeah, Ann Nichols, North Tower Preservation Alliance. I want to focus on how we are measuring growth and impact. And I'll send these to you, Jacob, so you don't have to write them down. TRPA's growth management system meters units, RUUs, TAUs, commercial floor area, but it does not directly meter people. In a resort region where peak occupancy far exceeds resident population, counting units is not the same as managing environmental load, capacity, or roadway saturation. At the same time, TRPA shifted from measuring total vehicle miles traveled to measuring VMT per capita. Not many people understand this, but what this means is total travel can increase, but if the modeled effective population increases faster, the per capita number can look better. It's an average. It's not cumulative. So when roads are saturated and evacuation routes are already constrained, how do these two approaches protect the basin during peak periods? Before advancing new incentive-based housing policies under cultivating communities, we need a clear explanation of how these metrics reflect real-world conditions, not just statistical improvement. Because environmental thresholds are about actual conditions in the basins, not ratios on paper. And this really, we've complained about the piecemeal planning of phase 2, phase 1, and here we are. Now we have a new baseline. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the audience in the room? Seeing no hands, we have a question from Kathy Julian. Kathy, go ahead.
Yeah, can we, Jacob, can we step back? Because I kind of got lost to begin with. What is the quote unquote project that you're doing this EIS on?
Yeah, so I gave a short overview of that, and I encourage you to go to the major projects page at trpa.gov if you want to read about it really in detail. But I have a slide here that talks about, oops. We split it into these three components. So we have these policy amendments that are aimed at reducing the time and cost to develop workforce housing. We have policy amendments that are aimed at ensuring that workforce housing units aren't held to a stricter standard than single family housing when it comes to water quality, and that can go both ways in
Okay,
terms of
okay, I understand now.
yeah.
I get it. Okay, thank you. Let me further go on to say it is shocking to me that it doesn't include the increased height, density, and coverage that we have expressed so much concern about. And I agree with Diane Becker's comment, wildfire evacuation needs to be a separate topic, top of the list. Also, traffic could be a separate topic in here under what's analyzed. But I support what Ann Nichols has just said about the VMT issue, but I truly think, and I hate to be critical on this, but this seems rather bogus if you are not evaluating the impact of increased height, density, and coverage since the 2012 EIS. And I'm floored about that because it seems like this will not yield really a meaningful assessment of the impacts if you're not factoring that in. So, yeah, So it's rather shocking. Thank you.
I don't see any more hands. I don't see any more hands on the internet, but we do have a comment in the room, question in the room.
Hi, Helena, Incline Village resident. I was gonna send written comments, but I just thought I'd throw this out there, Jacob. One other thing I think that's important to consider, and this goes in the somewhat in transportation, somewhat in public access and recreation, is the growth of the surrounding region. So whenever it's 100 degrees and we know, I don't know how many people load their cars up, get in their cars and come up to the lake. And that is affecting almost everything on this list here. And I'm sure the California side has the same issue with the growth in Sacramento and Roseville and Placerville and other places. So I would suggest that that be analyzed as part of the system. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Questions, either forum, don't see any. Jake, Roxanna's got a question.
So sorry, Roxana again. I want to go to the major projects website that you alluded to, but isn't that important for us to kind of have a sense of that in this meeting? So do you have that list somewhere?
You're asking for the list of like the project description?
Okay, so Kathy asked the question, maybe I'm off there, but Kathy asked the question, what project, quote, quote, are you doing the EIS for? Seems to me it's just sort of a regular EIS, right? That you do this periodically? Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. No, we have we do an EIS when we do like a major policy project or a major construction project. This is for a major policy project, and it includes, policies under these three buckets that I explained, I paraphrased in my presentation, and you can read much more detail about what the project proposal is on our website. But really the purpose of why I'm here tonight is to talk about the environmental impacts that should be studied as part of the EIS, rather than the details of the project proposal, which what the project proposal, like the project description, what's being analyzed in the EIS is a little bit set right now until we complete the EIS, and then it's back on the table once we have that EIS analysis. We open back up for discussion. What do we need to change about this based on that analysis? If that makes sense.
So the project is TRPA projects that you're planning to do, like the amendment changes, not something that some builder is going to do in Kings Beach, for example.
Yeah, exactly. We're analyzing. It's called a programmatic level environmental impact statement. So we're analyzing a change to our program. What are the impacts of that, both to individual resource areas and the cumulative impacts as well? So one thing that we could do in the cumulative, when we study the cumulative effects of this, it is look at potential physical projects that could come out of this, and what would be the results of those. That's something we could do in the EIS.
Okay.
But this is analyzing, really, at its core, it's analyzing the policy amendments that are being proposed.
All right, thank you. If you can pass it along to your folks. There was considerable befuddlement in this meeting as to why an EIS was never done for phase 2 before phase 2 was put in. I guess we're all grateful you're doing one now, but if you're starting with phase 2 as a given, cart before the horse.
Well, I can just respond to that. Really, I don't want to get into a whole discussion of phase 2, but I can respond that we have different levels of environmental analysis. And so we have an environmental checklist, we have environmental assessment, and then we have environmental impact statement. So there was environmental analysis done on phase 2. It just didn't rise to the level of an environmental impact statement.
So I have a question for you, Jacob. Chris Wood from the CAB. In your study of the cumulative effects under this EIS, will the impact of the increased height, density, and coverage that's in phase 2 come up for analysis?
I think that's a good question. I think it could, because it is an existing policy. So if we're looking at the cumulative effects, we're looking at, okay, what is the result of all of the policies that we have here on the table, both existing and new policies. And so that's the phase 2 amendments would be an existing policy, and that could be potentially that could potentially be considered in through the cumulative effects. I think I can't give you a definite yes or no on that, but I think you're onto something there.
Well, Chris Wood, let me put that down as my comment request to TRPA to analyze the phase 2 increased coverage, density and height as part of the policies that need to be looked at in part cumulatively with all the other policies that are being considered. And thank you for that. Any more questions in the room? None online. And I saw Kathy at chat. Kathy, you want to raise your hand?
Well, yeah, just the concern that if it's
Kathy Julian, right?
Yes, Kathy Julian, if it's possible that it's covered under cumulative impact, I would be concerned that a lot of these issues like wildfire evacuation would get buried under that heading and wouldn't get the attention that it needed. So that's my comment.
Good. Okay, yeah. It looks like we're done. Thank you all. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah. Jacob, I've worked with you before and know you to be a good guy over there trying to make the world better. So we all appreciate that. And the fact that we are a snarky little group is just because we're concerned. So please take it with a smile.
Yeah, no, thanks, Roxanne. I would not be I would not still be a planner if I took things personally, so so I understand. I would have quit this job a long time ago if I took it personally.
Okay. Well, we appreciate the hard work that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate that message as well. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
You too.
And thank you for Chris. I was otherwise employed this month, and so Chris was good enough to take up the mantle and do all of the prep work for getting this presentation together. And thank you for doing that. That helped me a bunch, so appreciate it. In my CAB chair aptitude that I have, I managed to skip one of the agenda items, so I'm going to step back now for a moment, and that is our CAB announcements. And it's amazing that I forgot it, since I have a big note to myself, CAB announcements. So we are now back to what we think is agenda item 5. There's a little discrepancy in numbers today too. In any case, I have several announcements on the CAB thing. The first thing I want to announce is that next month's CAB meeting, which I'm pretty sure we're actually going to have the speakers come and it won't be changed at the last minute. We're going to have sort of a housing panel. And what I have in mind, or what I've asked to do, is to have representatives from our local, I'm going to call them nonprofits. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, but our local nonprofits that help families find housing. I want them to come and tell us what their key issues are. What are the things that are keeping them from being able to find housing. And then the second part of our presentation is Reno Housing will be here to listen to that and respond. And so, yes, it's not gonna be like a debate. I'm hoping, I'm going to guess that Reno Housing is not gonna have a lot of great answers because we already know that our problems are deep and wide and difficult, and so they don't have all the clues, but I know that one of the things that has come out of the expansion of Reno Housing's charter to include Incline Village, they have, the one program that they have put in place is the vouchers. So that somebody's rent is partially covered by the county. As I understand it, the problem is, yes, okay. As I understand it, the problem is that our landlords don't really need to go through the bother of that. Because they have plenty of people on a wait list to take their things. So it's just those kinds of issues that I'm hoping will kind of bring to the surface, have some smart, brilliant people like you guys, maybe with some ideas or at least coming away with some better understanding and can kind of get the word out. To that end, also, Linda Offerdahl asked me to mention that IBCBA has a housing committee, and she is looking for people to serve on that and to help out. So unlike the CAB, which is sort of constrained to, we just have these meetings and things, IBCBA is able to, stay on board with all of that. Okay, one more question I have, and you can just talk to me after the meeting, but does anyone in our wonderful group here have experience researching grants and or writing grants? So we're trying to do some stuff with NDOT to get some money for a few safety things, and if we've got I've never had to do that in my life, but I saw Jody shaking her head tentatively, so we'll look to Jody Wright as a resource for that. Okay, yes.
You're into me. I believe it's in the spring or maybe the fall. The county has a how to write and request grants seminar. So, do you remember, Jody? Is it spring or?
I don't know. It's been a long time. I've written.
If I see it, I'll let you know.
Okay, so thank you.
And Kevin Lyons on the CAB.
Yes.
So a couple things you can do for that. That worked really well, really has the last few months. One is you can pick your favorite AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, which advertised heavily during the Super Bowl and is really good now, or Gemini. You can ask it to teach you what you need to know about government grants. It will do that iteratively. So that's kind of a baseline for your own brain. But what it does even better and more astoundingly is it can create the grants. It can respond to a grant proposal and provide all of the information. Take about 5 minutes. And then you want to review it, and then you can ask it to say, hey, double check this, or what else should we add, or be a critic, be a reviewer. What do you think this is missing? And by going through that process, you can do.
Yeah, and then I'm going to guess that you need to include a bottle of bourbon or something, because they must be getting thousands more grant applications now if AI is generated.
You would think so as of today, there's still a person behind us, but in the next month or two, expect the agents to do it themselves.
Okay,
It's going to be interesting.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other board announcements?
Yes.
Yes, Diane Becker.
I have one, and that is, there is a meeting on Wednesday evening, I believe the 25th. As well as the other meeting that Alexis mentioned on the 24th. So that meeting could be interesting there. I don't know, but I had heard there may be some public comments on what is going to be occurring with respect to the fireworks and the float that sunk on July 4th. And because it still hasn't been picked up. So it could be an interesting meeting for those of you who are interested to see who's gonna maybe get it picked up.
And Roxana, again, I'm sorry, Alexis mentioned this, but I'll just mention a little bit more. The Reno Housing Authority Board is meeting tomorrow at noon, wherever they are, the Reno Housing Board. I'm planning to go. I'm going to give general public comment, just saying we really don't want to lose this last piece of public land available in our area, so that'll be my main thing. If anyone also wants to go, it will include a short stop at Trader Joe's to make the trip worthwhile. In any event, but so I did reach out to a few people who sent in public comments, and they were excellent. Thank you very much. I think they will come to recognize that we really do have an issue down here. So anyway, if anyone wants to go, fun day, whatever. And yes, Denise, I'm sorry.
All right, just a reminder that tomorrow night, the county and the Nevada Division of Insurance are hosting a community meeting for residents concerned about changes to homeowners insurance as it relates to wildfire. That meeting starts at 5:30 tomorrow night, February 24th, at the Washoe County Admin Complex, Building A in the County Commissioner Chambers. So I urge you, if you have questions, you can also view it on Zoom, but I don't believe you can ask questions via Zoom. So for more information, please check out the county's website. And another reminder that this Friday, February 27th at 1 p.m. is the second meeting of the interim committee of the Nevada Legislature's Oversight Committee of the TRPA and Marlette Lake Water System. Again, it starts at 1 o'clock. It will be held at the TRPA offices at South Lake Tahoe. So just urge you to attend or watch online, whichever suits your schedule for that day. And our next community forum meeting is Friday, March 6th.
I have a question.
Kathy Julia.
No, thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, before we go here, we have Chris Wood.
Yeah, announcement. So following up on what Denise just talked about, one of the topics at the legislative interim TRPA oversight committee meeting is evacuations. So if you're tuned into that, it's a good one to attend. But also Wednesday night this week, or Wednesday morning, is the TRPA Board of Directors meeting. I don't believe there's anything about the EIS in particular coming up at that meeting, but you may want to tune in. And then the Advisory Planning Commission of TRPA meets March 11th at 9:30. And there will be some discussion of the EIS, which at that time will still be under the scoping period. So it will still be open to new ideas. Maybe that's a good place to express ideas for analysis. And the scoping period, just a reminder that as Jacob Stock just told us, ends March 16th. Those are the end of my announcements.
One addition to my announcement, the Nevada Legislature TRPA Oversight Committee, just want to remind everyone that for that group, public comment is limited to 2 minutes. It's not 3 minutes, so plan accordingly.
That was Denise Davis.
Denise Davis.
Adding us that reminder to be concise. All right. We are now back on the normal agenda, and so we're down to item number 8, the Neighborhood Development Hub. Alexandra.
Thank you, Roxana. Good evening. I do not have any Neighborhood Development Hub updates, as there aren't any for District 1. I did want to note that the TRPA Advisory Planning Commission application period has closed, and it is going to be on the March 10th agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. We had 10 individuals apply, and so they will be listed on the staff report. Other than that, oh, actually, I'm sorry. I heard that the Nevada Division of Insurance meeting was announced by Denise. I did want to note that there is limited participation online. I'll actually be manning the chat for online. So if you do have questions, please go ahead and send those in. That way, if there are any duplicates, I can summarize them and make sure that our presenter answers them. So it's going to be the Nevada Division of Insurance, Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District, as well as Emergency Management present at that meeting. So I look forward to seeing most of you there.
Okay, great.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Denise.
Diane
Diane.
Becker, hi Alexandra, I have a question. If we wanted to see the list of the 10 people who've applied so that we could write to the commissioners, is it online? Is there a place we can see it?
It's not going to be, I'm sorry, it's not going to be posted online until the agenda is posted. If you would like, I can probably send you the names. I just have to ask the DA if we can do that ahead of time.
If you're able to do that, maybe we could do that, and maybe could we post that information on the CAB website, so people who would like to comment, you know, because there are people with a lot of knowledge and experience that may have applied, I don't know. But it would be great for us to be able to get to the commissioners before 2 days before the meeting, if possible. And I would love to have a copy of the list myself, if you're allowed.
Sounds good.
All right, I hope everybody had their calendar out because your February and March are gone. All right, where are we? Approval of the minutes. Okay, everybody's favorite thing. I need we're looking at the January minutes, so we are up to date, which is a great thing. And if those of you who are online and etc. don't know, Chris Wood has been our central compiler of everybody's inputs, and that's a big job. I just want to make sure he gets noticed for that once in a while. So thank you for that. He got us through that huge backlog that we had at one point, and so it was a huge job. Then it's not insignificant now, but it was really a major thing.
Well, Chris, I'll just comment and say that the county has really improved the quality of the drafts that we are being sent, and that's made a big difference in at least not pulling our hair out and spending hours on getting the minutes right. So
and that's Alexandra. Right? So Alexandra, kudos, thank you. All right, so I need a motion to approve the minutes for January.
This is Diane Becker. I move that we approve the January 26th, 2026 minutes.
A second? I'll second, because I actually read them. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're good. Public comment. Public comment at the end. So Helen, I see your hand up. No? Oh, she was scratching her ear. Anyone in the room with public comment? Ann Nichols.
Nichols, North College Reservation Lands, there's a meeting tomorrow at 4 at the event center for the 39 Degrees project, which is going to significantly affect all Incline Village residents. It's big, it's about 300,000 square feet. It is a bunch of achievable housing, which has no income cap, remember that? And now they're calling it missing middle, they called it, they're confusing us because the achievable didn't really go over well, so they just keep changing the name. I wish they'd stick to one. They were saying workforce housing too. So what is it? It's either affordable, or moderate, or achievable. That's what TRPA talks about, so that's what we have to keep trying to keep them on track with that. And the other thing is that this meeting, it's design review, it starts at 4 o'clock. And this is coming to a town right here. You're gonna be next with the project, so it might be interesting to see how this goes. So they're doing, remember when they told us that don't worry, we're not doing an EIS now on phase 2, whatever they were doing, because we'll do it as each project comes forward. Well, this is a project coming forward and they're doing an environmental checklist, which will have no public comment. So we're, we just keep being,
What is that project again, Roxanne?
39 degrees. It's where
North.
it's in Kings Beach, and it basically is 157 units. I don't have my notes with me, but it's really, it's a bunch of condos, it's a hotel, and it's 64 units of achievable housing. So this is what they're trying to do to us. So if you're concerned about what's happening in Incline, this is the poster child.
That's the one that miniature golf course.
So,
yeah, they haven't sold yet. I don't,
So I am, do you know the break, you said 64 achievable out of 157. Are any of the 157 minus 64
Their market rate too.
affordable or moderate?
No.
The achievable or extra.
Different.
So it is really, this whole thing about making it affordable, it's very suspect to me, but, let me give you the real numbers here.
Okay.
So within a mile and a half, we're gonna have Boulder Bay has 155 units plus a casino and a restaurant. The Calneva has 198 plus 50,000 square foot spa and a restaurant and a casino. And then the unit 39 degrees is 234 units. So, that's 587 units in a mile and a half, plus 2 casinos and a 50,000 square foot spa. So when we're talking about cumulative, see, this is what, and they don't do this, they just, so we gotta really hold their feet to the fire on this stuff. And they wanna do stuff like on this cultivating communities, payouts, persons at one time in recreation areas. They say we have all these extra payouts that we haven't used. We wanna convert them to TAUs, tourist accommodation units. And then they go, that's 300 square feet, and there's 6 million square feet of commercial. I mean, their accounting does not exist. That's a problem.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Julian?
Yeah, and I appreciate Alexandra mentioning that if I go to the Oversight Committee's webpage on the Nevada legislature, I will be able to see an agenda. It might be good to stress that public comments can be sent to the Oversight Committee, right? And does anybody know what the agenda actually says so that people online who may wish to send a comment to them would have an inkling of what they'll be discussing? Chris mentioned evacuation.
Fire and thresholds.
So
Wait a minute, we're losing control here. So I'm gonna let Chris Wood answer that because I think he announced that meeting.
Yeah, Chris Wood, Cap, I think Ann nailed it when she said it's evacuation, wildfire, and what was the third?
Thresholds.
Thresholds. Beyond that, Kathy, that's been advertised since the schedule was set back in early January. Those topics, what's on the actual agenda, you're gonna have to pull that from the website. I don't have that information.
Okay, thank you. Helen Neff?
Helen Neff, Incline Village. So just to answer that question, I just happened to look at the agenda this afternoon. It also includes insurance. So the insurance commission is gonna make a presentation. And just to anyone that lives in an HOA, just a reminder, the Nevada State Insurance Commission has no oversight over HOA insurance because HOA insurance are considered commercial. And the only reason I know that is I asked our HOA board to send a letter to the committee saying that they should look at HOA insurance because a lot of us live in HOAs. But anyway, what I really stood up to say was to follow up on what Ann was talking about, this project in Kings Beach. Every summer weekend, when you're stuck trying to get through Kings Beach because they haven't accounted for how pedestrians cross the road, just keep in mind that that is going to have a huge cumulative effect on whether we can go anyplace in the summer. Thank you.
All right. I think we have covered everything, and so we are at the adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Chris Wood,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
Denise Davis, all in favor?
I
And thank you very